All right. I don't know if mine counts as a game per se, but
Then why are you here?
why? What am I even doing here? Right? I don't know. But I picked the Simpsons Cartoon Studio. It was a game that was released in 1996, and it was for CD-ROM on your PC. And it was I played this a lot. It was a game where you could make Simpsons episodes on your computer, and I think this game is important to me because it helped push me into wanting to do video editing and work. I wanted to make movies, but I never really could do that. But at least I could. It got me into video editing. Um, I was a huge like Simpsons is really the only cartoon that I've ever liked. I wasn't really able to watch cartoons. I never had cable, so I didn't have Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network, so those were out. Every Saturday I played soccer, so by the time I got home, it was like Family Matters was on. So The Simpsons was really the only cartoon I ever grew up with and liked. And then when this game came out, we had here's a little history lesson: a Windows 3.1 computer. Brian might know what that is, but that was the old operating system. And my parents are are 2 generations ahead of me, so they don't really understand technology and were afraid of it. So they never really got computers. So that was the best we got. This game did not run very well on a Windows 3.1. It would constantly crash. It would constantly just freeze and require a lot of processing to figure out what's going on. But as a kid, like you like kind of like Brian said, you get trapped with something and you just make do, and you try to find the joy out of it. And I found a lot of joy in placing all the characters. You could put them in the house. You could put them in the nuclear power plant. You could put them in. You could put them in hell. That was weird. But you could create these scenes, and it really wasn't like making Simpsons episodes. It was more making like stage plays almost, because they were the whole set. There were no close ups. All the characters were pretty far away. So you could put like Homer on there and just drag him around for clips and scenes and make him do stuff. You could grab a lot of the main characters and a lot of the side characters too, although they had limited actions once they got to like Sideshow Bob. It was more like they could do one thing. I think Chief Wiggum, you could pick him, and all he did was like eat donuts out of a thing. Like that was it. You could put sounds in from the show and music from the show and try to make like a thing. And there were like there were transitions and effects. And I used to try to make as much crazy stuff as I could. I think the most ambitious thing I ever made was like a Pokemon battle between Bart and Homer, and they just like threw, I think like Santa's Little Helper versus the cat at each other and tried to make them maybe look like they were fighting. But they were all terrible. The game itself is pretty horrible. It's I watched something this morning just to try to refresh my memory on this, and it is exactly as I remembered it, which was kind of cool. But it was like it took up a ton of my time, not just because I spent a lot of time making it, because the thing you had to process a lot. So I understood that it would just be forever. I didn't realize if I just upgraded the computer like into like anything recent. I think at the time it could have been like Windows 95 or maybe 98 by then. But if I would have done that, it would have run perfectly fine. But it was just a disaster on my computer. Then it would have been awesome. But yeah, it's very influential on me. And even though it was terrible, I look back fondly on making these terrible, terrible cartoons.
There were a lot of those style of games like at that time based on like different properties. Because I had one as well that was like Tiny Toons one. It was like a Tiny
Oh,
Toons
that would have been
studio.
cool.
Yeah, and it was the same thing. Where you can like place the characters, and I would have them like try to do like different. I would try to like recreate like Roadrunner cartoons, but with like I don't know what the Tiny Toon versions of those characters are called, but
Yeah.
like not Wily and not Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Good at it? You feel like you understood the editing process pretty well?
Yeah, I think it taught me editing. It even did it by frames. So you could edit by frame, and that's where I learned how to do like very specific cuts and transitions. Like if you're going to switch between two scenes, you don't want the same character to just be standing in the same spot because it wouldn't make any sense. So you'd have to cut them out of that frame going forward. So it taught me a lot about that stuff early on. I don't know how much of it I would credit to, but it certainly got my feet wet. So that was kind of cool.
Got the juices flowing, right?
Yeah, I got a couple juices going on in me, shooting at me.
That's not what I said. I said I'm not shooting the juice.
Just shooting the juices over here. Weird story that it sparked in my memory too is I got this. I don't know why my mom did it because we were very poor. We were very cheap. But I think it was in 3rd grade that I got this, and I don't know if your guys' schools did this, but there's like a big scam where they would send your school like a catalog full of books. It'd be like a book thing, and they're like, you can buy books off of this catalog, and we'll send them to you guys. I distinctly remember it came in that, and it was like they were doing video games at the time, but they're supposed to be like semi-educational. I guess this counted as educational. And they're like, you can get the Simpsons game in this catalog. And I was like, oh my God, I have to have this. And I guess mom was like, okay. I don't know why she approved that, but she did that time. I'd certainly asked for other things that she didn't approve of. But I remember getting this game in that catalog. Like a couple months later, they sent out another catalog. And I this is where I think I might be like, there might be something wrong with my brain, because I got the catalog and I didn't want anything from it. And then the teacher at one point said, like, you have to have this turned in by Friday. And in my brain, I was like, oh, or else I'm going to fail school. Like if I don't have this turned in, I won't pass this class or something. And so I remember like begging my mom. I was like, I need to buy something off of this catalog or else I'm not going to pass math. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're an idiot. And then I remember the day of like bringing the empty catalog to my teacher, just like sobbing, being like, I tried my best, but we couldn't get anything. And she's like, why do you care so much? Like, who cares? And I just remember thinking I was going to fail out of school because we couldn't order off of the catalog. So
there were a lot of those like scammy type things for schools where it's like they'll sell books, but then they'll sell like other things that are like
yeah, book adjacent.
Book adjacent. Like I'm pretty sure I still have them in storage somewhere. I have a bunch of like cheat code books that I used to get. That's yes, by definition a book, but it serves no educational purpose.
Yeah.
It's just like, what cheat code do I use for Bubble Bobble on Game Boy Advance? Like those are the types of things in the book.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that stuff too. I had Tom Watt and Book It. Book It was.
Well, you were there when books were invented, so that was the.
He made the first video game book actually was printed by him.
Yeah, that's right.
Predicting video games.
Avoiding the hole.
Yeah.
By Brian. I Got Kings.
How to dodge the hole.
You got to use your neck to graze out of the hole once you get in there. You got to escape from the guy trying to catch you.
Remembers it. It's like he wrote it yesterday.
But it was not. You did not write it yesterday. You wrote it many, many, many years ago.
Oh, that was back in 84, 85, something like that.
I remember you wrote a book.
Days.
You wrote a book like one day people will be playing games with a controller on a screen thing.
On a monitor. Yeah.
You won't use a joystick. You'll use a directional pad, I think they call it.
You said there'll be light.
Yeah.
Projected light onto a slab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That you'll be be all like, you're crazy.
And they're throwing their poop at him.
They're like playing with their stick and hoop, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah. He said, "You got to use fire." They said, "What is that?" He said, "Let me show you."
Yeah, me warmer now. Me feel warm. Yeah, it's
Brian Cass sizzle.
Hey, that was good. That was good.
That's a good reference. Yeah.
I think I got it. See, I know some stuff.
Yeah, not as much as Brian though.
It's a waste MP. Well, you could use Sizz. Sizzle's a group spell, but that's fine.
Sizz,
some stuff. You gotta appreciate what you got.
Sizz is still a group spell.
You had a group of people.
Brian?
Yeah, you had a group of people. So you had
I'm thinking of
Frizz.
what am I thinking of?
With an F.
Frizz. Yeah.
Frizzle.
Nice anchor.
Frizz.
Ultimate fire.
Faux shizzle. I use faux shizzle.
Cuff
whenever I play.
frizzle, faux shizzle.
Oh shizzle, oh frizzle. I'm gonna say that every time now. That's right. Faux shizzle, co frizzle.
Well, Alex, and then there was one.
Hey y'all, don't forget to subscribe to them button mappers.